Hey, 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 John Vroman here. Welcome to 4 Minutes in the Front Row. This is video 3 of 3 where we're talking about the front row factor and what that means and how it applies to your life. The front row factor is all about proximity. It is all about what you're putting close to you. And we started with who is in your front row as being one of the big questions we ask, but we took it a step further and said, whose front row are you in? Knowing your most important relationships and then knowing what dream are they chasing and how are you helping them get there. When you're a great raving fan of others, you create a whole community of people that are raving fans for you and want to lift you up and see you succeed. Number 2, what is in your front row? We talked about the physical environment. We talked about shaping your environment so that it lifts you up. It's like if we go with the concert theme, we would say concerts that are done really well create an environment. What is there lifts you up and helps you to experience it to the fullest. The third thing we're going to talk about today is why. Why the front row? Why are you there? Why are you in proximity, to this amazing band? Let's just keep going with the theme, right? And it reminds me, a couple weeks ago, my wife came to me and said one of her childhood favorite bands called Modern Talking. Now, my wife grew up in Russia till she was 18, and this band was huge. I had never heard of them. They were coming to New York City, which is about 2 hours north of us, and she said, I really want to go. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this style of music, but, and I did resist. I'm not going to paint a picture of anything perfect here. I did resist a little bit in the beginning, but then I had to remind myself, this isn't about me. This is about my wife going to see a band that was this is a childhood favorite, and this might be one of the only times they ever come around. So we loaded up the car, we went up to New York City. I mean, this is a big journey to get there. It was a big deal. But my wife's face, the smile was priceless. If you're my friend on Facebook, you may have seen this video. And she actually caught me sitting down. I was standing up for 90% of the concert. And then she's filming and she catches me sitting down. And that was not living life in the front row. But I will tell you that why I did that was because it was important to her. And why I did stand up for 90% and dance and have fun. And you know what? I was exhausted, and that wasn't easy to do. The last place I really wanted to be personally was there, but I wanted to be there for her. So I really dug deep to try to enjoy the time because she was enjoying the time. That's not difficult. Seeing her smile lights me up. I often see people at concerts and I can tell one of them wants to be there and one of them doesn't. And they are not doing a good job of supporting their spouse or their partner or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. The point is, we have to remind ourselves why we're there. What's the purpose of it? Think about in your life. If you're investing your time and energy into something, why are you doing it? And sometimes that's difficult to dig up a good reason why. I mean, I see this with people that have jobs they're not totally fulfilled in and they want to go work somewhere else. And what I can say is, listen, maybe that's a job that you're not that happy with right now, but you can find reasons why it's important to play full out while you're there until you leave. In other words, nothing really means anything until we give it a meaning. And sometimes we need to be intentional about why we are front row to this thing. Even if we don't want to be there in the front row, we've got to come up with an empowering reason why we're there. And sometimes I'll say, the best concert to be at is the one you're at. The best concert to be at is the one you're at. This has a lot to do with gratitude and appreciation of our lives. Sometimes we get a curveball tossed at us. Life is tough, some real tough. And we can always attach a positive meaning. I've seen people, of all ages going through the most difficult times. And yeah, it's hard and you don't wish it on anybody. But when they attach a positive meaning, why they're having this experience, why they're front row to this horrible, horrific event or whatever it is, and they come up with something empowering, they walk out the other side with growth, with being empowered. And they would tell you, they would never wish it on their worst enemy. But if they have to be front row to that thing, even if it's a challenge, they're going to create a positive meaning why. So whether it's positive or not so positive, if you have a front row seat to it, if it is in your life, if you are addressing this problem, find an empowering meaning, find a purpose, find a positive why. That's the message for this week. That concludes our 3-part video series. The front row factor is deciding, what am I putting myself in proximity to? Who am I putting myself in proximity to? And why am I in proximity to that thing? And attaching a positive meaning. Live by these principles. Be intentional. Choose wisely, and you will live a front row life. I can't wait until next week. I hope you're enjoying the podcasts, by the way. I'm having a blast interviewing some of these amazing people. If you're enjoying, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review, because that's how we rank higher, and people will find us is by your rates and reviews. It also lets us know how you feel. We appreciate it. You can just go to frontrowfactor.com/review, and it will take you immediately to the page where you can subscribe and check it out. Until next time, keep living your life in the front row. Take care.